Hello, everyone. This is Nick Dettmann with Dettmann Media, and glad you can join me again here on the Dettmann Media Podcast, where we talk about, discuss, and go over the latest trends, tips, and analysis of social media and digital media marketing, as well as website design, analytics, search engine results, and so forth. So glad you can join me again here on this podcast. If you don't already, please be sure to head over to my blog, which is nicholasdettmann.blogspot.com. There you'll get regular updates on the latest social media news, industry trends, tips, and things of that nature on my blog, delivered right to your email inbox. So again, that address is nicholasdettmann.blogspot.com. And then head on over there, click on subscribe, and like I said, you'll get the latest news, industry trends, and so forth delivered right to your email inbox. So got a couple of topics here to discuss today, so let's jump right on into it. And the first one we're going to tackle is a new tool for LinkedIn, and it's LinkedIn is looking to add some tools to add to its personalization. Like I said, it's making moves to more personalization options to its users. So per socialmediatoday.com, essentially what that means is, quote, LinkedIn's looking to help users share more of their personal story and maximize their on-platform presence with an addition of a range of new features for individual member profiles in the app. Also, quote, first off, LinkedIn's adding a new video cover story option, which will enable users to add an introductory video that people can view when they visit their LinkedIn listing, end quote. This is a very interesting development on a number of different levels. For a while, LinkedIn wasn't really known for drawing large engagement numbers because it was seen as a more professional or business-like platform. I mean, certain kind of things that you would do on Facebook, Twitter, or even Instagram really just kind of wasn't what you would do on LinkedIn. It was kind of more of your business profile, your online resume, per se. So while that is still the case in many ways, but the recent efforts by LinkedIn of late, certainly over the last several months, indicates that it's committed to staying relevant in the social media universe. And it's doing that by offering users more ways to bring personalization to what was for so long known as really a bland platform, so such as adding cover videos to your page or to a company's page. Just adds another element of engagement and personalization to the LinkedIn profile, whether, again, it's your personal profile or a business profile. So if you're not familiar with the cover videos, it's very something similar that you can do with Facebook right now. And I certainly, myself, I love utilizing that as kind of a trailer, 30-second kind of trailer that you have right at the top of your Facebook page right when people get to it. So that's what LinkedIn is looking to add to its platform here. It didn't seem clear when that might roll out, but the fact that LinkedIn's working on it offers an interesting future for LinkedIn. As I've mentioned a long time ago, that LinkedIn always kind of seemed to be behind the eight ball, well behind the eight ball, when it came to keeping its platform up to date with the other social media platforms. But lately, LinkedIn has stepped up its game in that respect, and it's going to be neat to see how that works. I think the personalization can certainly help nonprofits looking to connect with either B2Bs or B2Cs for possible donations. And I can see this also helping prospective employees and employers gain better insight into a person or a company. I have the link to that story, the full story, on my blog. So moving right to the next topic, and that is, I'm going to pull up my notes here, and that's regarding cookie tracking software and website analytics on websites. They appear to be heading for a major change over the next couple of years. Recently, I watched a terrific webinar by Northwoods, which is a digital marketing agency in Milwaukee, and their discussion centered on cookies or third-party tracking methods. Like I said, it was fantastic webinar, and I do have a link to that webinar on my blog, again, nicholasdettmann.blogspot.com. It's been well publicized, the shift to more transparency by social media and websites as far as what they're tracking from visitors, i.e. Google Analytics. Like I said, it's just been very much at the forefront and challenged by the general public about what is being tracked by users' activity on websites and how is that information being used. So according to a stat that was shared during the presentation, the ad blocking penetration rate is growing. Per Statista, in 2014, it was 15.7%. In 2021, that number has swelled to 27%, and about a 71% change. That's important to note because not being able to understand data via data tracking will make marketing decisions more difficult. I mean, if we're not knowing what type of audience is coming to our site, it's going to make it much more difficult for us to figure out who we should target to, and that's kind of what this is aimed for. So when the cookies are blocked, again, that takes the data out of the equation, and it becomes very difficult to analyze. So more about the presentation said that third-party cookies will likely be gone within 2 to 3 years. So the big question is, how do we get data we need to make informed marketing decisions? Well, suggestions included contextual advertising, which is an ad that is similar in content similar to the content on a page. So, for example, if you want to be, if you're Oreo, for example, and you want to get an ad out about the latest Oreo flavor, putting an ad on a food-related website or a food-related magazine website would be an ideal or an example of contextual advertising. Another suggestion is called content advertising, which is essentially providing information. For example, if a customer or a potential customer is looking for a new lawnmower, place content as an ad rather than an ad. Essentially, people want the content, not the ads. Also, the forecast says marketers will be marketing to groups rather than individual people, again, according to the presentation. So it's still kind of similar to what we're already doing, but there is still a little difference in how we're going to do it. And we're not targeting the person, we're talking more of the interest is what I believe that is going to be telling us and how we're going to be moving forward. Moving to the last topic here that we'll discuss today, and it has to do with Twitter. And Twitter several months ago announced its audio version tool called Spaces. Clubhouse came out, I'm trying to think, several months ago. I can't remember off the top of my head when exactly Clubhouse came out, but Clubhouse, if you're not familiar with it, is an audio-driven social media app and very much continues to show growth. But recently it revealed that it has some challenges ahead in trying to keep up with the demand of the app. For example, it's only available to iPhone and Apple users. It's not an Android app at this point, and you only can get through it versus an invitation from someone who already has it. You can't just go to Clubhouse, boom, you're signed up. You actually have to be invited in. And Clubhouse has said that they're struggling to keep up with that demand. And Facebook and again Twitter are definitely trying to take advantage of that difficulty that Clubhouse is having in keeping up with the demand. And it appears that Twitter is ready to pounce on the opportunity. Having already started Spaces, Twitter is also looking how it can potentially pass Clubhouse, and the way to do it, according to Twitter, is allowing its users to use Spaces via desktops rather than just mobile only. So according to an article that appeared on socialmediatoday.com, that could be a big bonus for broadcasters who are looking to add a little more polish to their audio rooms. Many podcasters, for example, have professional microphones and sound recording equipment attached to their primary workstations. And while you get better sounding microphones for mobile devices, it will be cheaper and easier for most to use the equipment that they already have on their home desktops. I have the full link to that story on my blog. So it's going to be a big battle between Clubhouse, Twitter, Facebook, and other social media platforms as the audio social media interaction continues to grow. Essentially what Clubhouse is again, audio-driven social media interaction where you're talking to people like if you're talking to them on the phone. That's kind of how Clubhouse is going to be set up, and there's rooms that you jump into based on interest that you have. So It's an interesting app. I've dabbled with it a little bit, still just trying to kind of get the grasp of it. But though I do see how it has become popular, and mostly because of that personal interaction, even if it's just talking on the phone, which is really kind of what we lost as social media continued to evolve and develop and grow. I think we kind of saw ourselves getting away from the person-to-person communication. The audio-driven idea with Clubhouse and then coming up with Twitter Spaces is going to kind of bring us back, and I think it's going to connect us differently, and I think more personally. And I think that's really what a lot of people are looking for these days, is more that personal communication, that personal connection. Again, something that we seem to have lost over the last several years, or maybe even the last decade, as social media has continued to develop, evolve, grow, and change. So definitely keep an eye on that. So that about wraps up today's podcast here, the Dettmann Media Podcast. Again, thank you so much for joining me today. Hope you got some valuable information and insight about today's podcast. Feel free to send me some feedback if you'd like me to, and you can do that through Twitter, and that's Nick_Dettmann, Dettmann. Certainly would love to hear your feedback, or if there's some topics that you would like to discuss or have me discuss, or questions that you'd like me to answer on the podcast or in future podcast episodes, by all means, feel free to hit me up. Otherwise, head over to my blog, nicholasdettmann.blogspot.com. Click on subscribe, and you'll get regular updates delivered right to your inbox, and you can also contact me through there as well. Again, thanks so much for joining me today, and until the next episode, have a safe and pleasant day, and we'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.